Old Mr. Owl writes a book. Old Mr. Owl wanted to write a book, and he asked the fairies how to set about doing it, commenced Daddy.
Well, said the Fairy Queen, it makes a good deal of difference, old Mr. Owl, what you want to write about.
What nonsense, he said. It's just that I want to know how to start off with my book. Just think what a marvelous book it will be. For as long as folks can remember, I've been called the wise bird, the bird who's awake at night, and whose eyes are so very bright.
Before I started saying what a fine book it would be, if I were you, I'd write it, and give other people the chance to say so, said the Fairy Queen.
Mr. Owl began to write with his pen, made out of one of Mr. Turkey Gobbler's best feathers, on a large flat stone, which he put in the hollow of his tree. Very late in the night he awakened the fairies who had been sleeping, and told them to listen to his book. Then he called all the owls from the neighborhood with a loud hoot, hoot. But before he began to read, he said, I have not enough light. I will hurt my eyes, my beautiful, wise, big eyes. You see, he had made a special arrangement to have his own lights, and when he said that he hadn't enough, from all over came countless little fireflies. They sparkled and gave the most beautiful light all over the woods, and Mr. Owl put his spectacles on his nose and said, Now I see to perfection, which means quite all right. And Mr. Owl commenced reading his book. It told about the parties, balls, and picnics in fairyland, and of the wild adventures and happenings in the woods. The fairies were absolutely delighted that a book had been written with so much about them in it. And the Fairy Queen was more than happy, for the last chapter was all about her. Well, said Mr. Owl, you made me ashamed of myself for boasting about my book before I had written it, and so the only thing I could do was to write a wise chapter all about you. And the Fairy Queen smiled with pleasure, and also with amusement, for Mr. Owl had certainly thought he could write a wise book, though the next time, perhaps, he wouldn't say so before he had written it. The fireflies had been sparkling and flashing lights all this time, and finally they whispered, Have a dance, all of you. We'll give you the light and dance too. It is not well to read books all the time. You must dance. So they all ended off with a fine dance, and old Mr. Owl, with his book under his wing, danced with the rest of the owls and fairies. But before the evening was over, he presented to the Fairy Queen a copy of his book, which said on the cover, A Book by Wise Mr. Owl. End of Chapter 1. Chapter 2. The Woodpeckers Start a Bird Band. The Woodpecker family were around on various trees, drumming on the bark. Mr. Hairy Woodpecker, Mr. Downy Woodpecker, and Mr. Red-headed Woodpecker were hard at work. Let's start a band, suggested Mr. Hairy Woodpecker. What's that you say? Asked Mr. Red-headed Woodpecker, who had been so busy at work that he had not heard what Mr. Hairy Woodpecker had been suggesting. A band, repeated Mr. Hairy Woodpecker. What sort of a band? Asked Mr. Red-headed Woodpecker. In the first place, continued Mr. Hairy Woodpecker, our bills are not only fine tools for the work we have to do, getting the insects from the trees and burrowing for our nests, but they would be splendid to use in beating the drums in a band. Where would we get the drums? Asked Mr. Red-headed Woodpecker. The trees, of course, you silly, said Mr. Hairy Woodpecker. Oh, yes, agreed Mr. Red-headed Woodpecker. And Mr. Downy Woodpecker said, Of course, the trees will be our drums. We'll get the other birds, said Mr. Hairy Woodpecker, to help us. We need something in a band beside the drums. We will ask the goldfinches, the mockingbirds, the bobolinks, the phoebe and chickadee families, all of the warbler and vireo families, and the robins, of course. Then I think we'll ask the orioles, the whippoorwills, the thrush family, and the song sparrows. Oh, said Mr. Downy Woodpecker, that will make a perfect band. We'd better get started right away. And the woodpeckers began to practice. They made such a noise that the birds came from far and near to see what they were doing. Mr. Sapsucker, Mr. Crested Woodpecker, and Mr. Flicker Woodpecker had all joined in beating the drums too. "Why are you making so much noise?" asked the birds as they flew around the nearby trees to talk to the woodpeckers. "Oh," said Mr. Hairy Woodpecker, "we were just going to ask you all to join our band. We will beat the drums." "And just what do you want us to do?" asked Mr. Robin Redbreast, who was always eager to help. "You must all sing."
"But we all sing differently," chirped a song sparrow. "We know different tunes and different songs."
"Oh," said Mr. Hairy Woodpecker, "I never thought about that. But never mind, you can have little parts to sing alone, and other choruses where you will all sing together. I'm sure it will be a very fine band after we have practiced." And they began pounding the drums again.
"Well," said Mr. Robin Redbreast, "if the bird band isn't to be the finest in the land, at least we'll make a cheerful noise."
End of Chapter 2. Chapter 3. The Cardinal Bird and the Robin. "The cardinal bird," said Daddy, "is a very superior bird and will not come down to the ground. The lowest he will come is to a bush, but he never hops along the woods or lawns. No, not he." One day Robin Redbreast was walking on a green lawn. He stopped several times to pick up a worm from the ground, swallow it whole, and then walk along. In a tree nearby he spied the cardinal bird. "Hello," he said cheerily. "Won't you come and have a worm with me? There are a number in this lawn, and the good rain we had last night has made the ground so nice and soft. Do join me," he ended with a bright chirp.
"No, thank you," said the cardinal bird. "I wouldn't soil my feet on that ground. I hate the ground, absolutely hate it."
And the cardinal bird looked very haughty and proud.
"Come now," said Robin Redbreast, "you won't get your feet dirty. And if you do," he whispered knowingly, "I can lead you to the nicest brook where you can wash them off with fresh rainwater. Do come."
"I cannot," said the cardinal bird. "I do not like the earth. I want to be flying in the air or sitting on the branches of trees. Sometimes I will perch for a little while on a laurel bush, but come any lower? Dear me, no, I couldn't."
"It's a great shame," said Robin Redbreast. "Of course, there is no accounting for taste."
"Thank you for inviting me," added the cardinal bird politely, for he prided himself on his good manners. Pretty soon some people came along. At once they noticed the beautiful cardinal bird. He wore his best red suit, which he wears all the time, except in the winter when he adds gray to his wings. His collar and tie were of black, and his feathers stuck up on top of his head so as to make him look very stylish and fine. "Oh, what a wonderful bird!" said the people. Mr. Cardinal Bird knew they were admiring him, of course, and so did Robin Redbreast. No one had noticed him, but he didn't care, for he knew Mr. Cardinal Bird was by far the more beautiful, and Robin hasn't a mean disposition. Well, when the Cardinal Bird heard the praise, he began to sing. A glorious high voice he had, and he sounded his clear notes over and over again. Then suddenly he stopped, cocked his head on one side, as though to say, "And what do you think of me now?" From down on the ground Robin Redbreast had been listening. "Oh, that was wonderful, wonderful!" he trilled. "Listen to that dear little robin," said one of the people. "I must get him some breadcrumbs." When the breadcrumbs were scattered over the ground, Robin Redbreast invited the Cardinal Bird down again, thinking they were for him. But the beautiful proud bird would not come down, and the people were saying, "After all, there is nothing quite so nice as a dear little robin." End of Chapter 3. Chapter 4. The Winter Wren's Dewdrop Baths. "The winter wren is really with us during the summer, too," said Daddy. "But he is too shy to be near us. We can only hear him sing sometimes. When winter comes, though, he goes to people for protection and picks up the crumbs they give him. Yesterday he was sitting on a snowberry bush with a tiny companion. The snowberry bushes are full and leafy, and in the spring and summer are covered with very tiny pink blossoms. In the autumn and winter they are covered with little berries, which look as if they had been made out of snow." "Oh, how I dread the winter!" said the tiny wren. "Just imagine how dreadful it would be if no one put any breadcrumbs out for us, or no dog left us some of his dinner on a back porch." "No," said Mr. Brown Wren, You mustn't think of such sad thoughts. You always do. Someone will look after us, and maybe we'll find a few spiders now and then in the cracks, and then we'll have a regular feast."
The next day they were back again on the snowberry bush, and the day was much warmer. Now the wrens love to bathe above all things. Even in the winter they will go through a little sheet of ice and get into the cold, cold water underneath, for they must get their baths. And in the spring, when the tiny wrens are brought forth from their mossy nest, the first lesson they have is of bathing in some nearby brook. But this day it was early in the morning. The snowberry bush was covered with dewdrops, and the wrens were delighted.
"The sun will drive them away soon. Let's take them while we get the chance," whispered Mr. Brown Wren.
"Yes, yes," said his small companion. "We will soon have to bathe when it is so cold. Let us have a good warm bath first." And then those two little brown wrens took the dewdrops in their beaks and dropped each one in turn on their feathers. Then they got under some leaves full of dewdrops and shook them down over their little feathered bodies. After they were well covered with the dewdrops, they began to shake all over just as every bird does when he takes a bath, and back they went to take another bath when this one was over, for they seemed to enjoy their last warm bath so much. Finally they had bathed enough, and the sun appeared strong as could be and shining very hard. They perched still on the branches of the snowberry bush and bathed now in the hot sun. Soon their little feathers were quite dry, and they began to sing. And truly, I think their song was one of gladness because of their dewdrop baths. End of chapter 4.